Now, before we ever start into a session, before we ever start marketing or booking sessions on the phone, you have to establish how you're going to run your business. Basically, are you going to offer prints and photographs for sale, or are you going to do what a lot of younger photographers do and offer all the images on the DVD? There are distinct advantages to selling prints, namely profit, but also you're in control of the entire process. You go through the session, you then help the client select the images that are right for them, the sizes of wall portraits, framing, and everything else that goes into that, and you're a professional business. Whereas when you present a client with an image CD or DVD, really you're leaving half the work up to them, and they really don't know what to do with it. They don't know, most clients are not educated as far as the size of portrait that should go on the wall, what they need to get, or even who to print it out. So you're leaving kind of half the work up to the client, and if they take it to somewhere that doesn't do that good a job printing it, it's all going to come back to you and your reputation. Another important factor when you're starting into planning the way your business is going to run is profit and how much you mark up your product that you're selling. Whether it's a DVD or prints, you have to figure in all of the costs that go into producing that product and then price it accordingly. I was sitting at a workshop one time with a young man, and he was talking about when he sells prints, he basically doubles the price of what the lab charges him for the photograph. So if an 8x10 cost him $2, he charges the client $4 for it. And I started kind of laughing because the young man had no idea of all the things involved, or at least didn't take the time to think of all the things involved in producing that 8x10. He wasn't thinking about the editing time it takes to retouch the person and color balance it and get it ready to print. Whatever the delivery system is, whether he uploads it online or he takes it to the lab, what about the cost of gas? All these little things have to be factored in to to figure out all the costs of an 8x10 to know what to charge for it. In talking to the young man, he really didn't grasp what I was saying. And finally I said, okay, look at it this way. If you double the price of an 8x10, so they charge you $2, you charge the client $4, what happens if you make a mistake in retouching? You over retouch, or you remove a scar that was supposed to be left, whatever it is, you have to remake the print. And then he finally dawned on him, and he said, oh, I wouldn't make any money. And it's like, exactly. And you would actually lose money because you would not only take and lose the $2 profit or income that you had, but then you would also lose the gas and all the time it took to retouch it. So basically you would be losing money to work with a client. In retail, the average markup is between 5 and 10 times cost. For photographers, it's not always easy to figure out what all the costs are because there's so much involved in an 8x10. One of the things that I've always talked about is the difference between competition in photographers, being educated or uneducated. And that is, uneducated photographers tend to base everything on price. They want to be the cheapest, they want to give the most images for the least amount of money, and they're not thinking about what is involved in that DVD. People, I've had people say that's what clients want, is a DVD of images, and they really don't. They don't want unretouched, unedited images. They want a DVD of all the images, but then they want you to sit and edit each and every one of them. So that's time involved in 50 to 80 images that you have to account for when you price the product. Now in pricing, it's 5 to 10 times because there are a lot of variables that can happen. Somebody can write you a bad check, and you have check return fees that they may or may not pay. There's a lot of driving to and from, and you have to always base your prices based on the worst case scenario. What if someone does a big session and only orders an 8x10 of it? You still have to cover all your costs and have a little profit. Well, there it goes. And have a little profit for doing it, or you lose money. And if it's a hobby or you have a wealthy wife or husband, that's one thing. But if this is a business that has to provide you an income to live on, you have to make money on every client you deal with, even if it's a slight amount if everything does go wrong.